Hey everyone, I am Rob with Food, Wine, and Whiskey, and I wanted to do just a little intro video just to kind of let you guys know who I am and, kind of what the channel is going to be about. I've been doing the podcast for about 4 years, Food, Wine, and Whiskey. If you haven't listened to the podcast, would love for you to go check it out. Anywhere you listen on Apple, Google, Spotify, any of those platforms, it's published. I'm just a guy, 55 years old, been enjoying the exploration of wine and whiskey and foods for about the last 20 years. And I'll tell you, man, starting in food, I was one of the pickiest eaters growing up. And I'm sure a lot of people have a similar story where you just didn't like much, didn't like anything. But man, I took it to another degree. Ask my wife. She can tell you some stories. Well, I was a very picky eater growing up, getting into adulthood, if you will. And then I found a show, or a channel, I should say, the Food Network, and then a show, Guy's Big Bite with Guy Fieri. And him cooking every Sunday after church, we'd come home and I'd have recorded that on a VCR, I think, back in the day. And I would come home after church and watch those episodes of him cooking in the kitchen. And this is, Guy Fieri. This is a guy with all this bling on, the bleached out hair, spiked up, big shades always on his head. And I thought, man, this dude's cool. And this guy can cook in the kitchen. And at that time, I was just cooking out back. I was slinging burgers and cooking some barbecue and chicken on the grill. It's basically that, what we thought of as the dudes cooking out back on the grills. And after watching Guy's Big Bite, I went, man, I can take this inside and I can cook some stuff too. So my wife would get a kick out of me because every weekend we would watch Guy's Big Bite on that Sunday after church. And I would end up taking the recipe he was doing that day. You could go to foodnetwork.com, download it, and I would try to make those recipes. And a lot of them were not very good, and a lot of them, were pretty successful and very tasty. I remember one in particular, which was this, I think it was like a 27 or 29 layer onion cake. If you get a chance, go check out the archives of Food Network and look for Guy Fieri's onion cake he made one time. Actually, at that time, I hated onions and didn't think I'd like it. Turns out, pretty good. But anyway, cooking, a passion of mine. The name of the show kind of screams right what it says, Food, Wine, and Whiskey. But I'll tell you, man, I like a lot of different things. And anytime we can find something that's kind of connected in some way to the world of food, wine, and whiskey, I'm going to explore it and probably do some shows on it, podcast episodes, some videos for YouTube. I mean, I'm just an average guy. I'm just, a guy like you who enjoys good food, he enjoys good company, love the exploration and the, finding different kinds of spirits and cocktails and things to drink. One of my favorite things I've gotten into the last couple of years is coffee. You'll see me doing some coffee shows, and you'll see me doing some cooking shows. I love to cook. Love doing it. Love hosting. I do this because, man, I love hanging out with people. To me, the thing that brings people together more than anything else is food. And wine is a part of that for us, wine and food going together. I'm WSET level 2 in wine, which means I have about this much education in wine. I know enough to get by and talk to folks who know a whole lot more than me. So a lot of conversations in wine. Whiskey's kind of a different world. Whiskey, if we could get master distillers to come on and have some conversations, we'd love to do that. Whiskey is really, really subjective. I mean, wine's subjective too. It's all subjective. But I think whiskey is an easier beverage to kind of, I don't want to say master, but to become very familiar with. So I still do want to do some shows on whiskey and have people on. A lot of it might be, some blinds, some tasting things, some just fun conversations about what's going on in the whiskey world. Yeah, that's who I am, and that's what the show is going to be about. We want it to be a lot of fun, but we're looking forward to having a really good time with you all, meeting a lot of folks, and we'll see how it goes, but it should be some fun stuff.